How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Great to be here. Looking forward to our chat, Gilbert.
Yes, you can tell what I'm wearing. This is part of the World Cup series, and to in terms of this time of the period, I'm doing all the interviews with my jersey. So you're the first one here. Let's start off by just talking about your company, introducing the background of Spanish Romano, because I know that I heard about this company for a long time. But since a few years ago, since you took over, it's been kind of a turnaround story. So tell us a bit about the background and what did you do over the last few years to help this?
Yeah, no, my pleasure. The company's been around for, 40, 45 years, with different ownerships, changing hands, lots of drill information over the years. And I've joined the company in the fall of 2022 as a director. I'm still a director. And then I assumed the leadership role as CEO president in the spring of 2023. Since that time, we've been very busy, as you could probably see through a lot of the news releases out there. We've re-envisioned the project. The project had reached a pre-feasibility study in 2021 on the back of a resource estimate of over 4 million ounces and envisioned 2 million ounces of production. We saw at that time, a few years ago, that there was an opportunity to get a larger scale operation that would be lower risk and employ some more innovative solutions that we thought would help advance this project to a feasibility and ultimately a build decision, which is the company's strategy and objective. If all that pans out, we would be the third largest or third significant major gold project in the region behind Artemis and Osisko Development, which is nearing construction as we speak. So we're hoping to be the third. Located in South Central BC, about 70 kilometers east of Williams Lake. So great tier one jurisdiction, paved roads close to site. We've actually been advancing our interconnection study with BC Hydro for a 60 megawatt power line that would power up and enable us to operate the mine. An excellent, or what I would call the hallmarks of what to look for in an emerging developer. And so this project's been that explorer for a long time, low grade, misunderstood in a lot of ways, I think. And we applied a different thinking, more innovative thinking tools, modern tools to really try and grow our understanding of the resource. And yes, we have a large, low-grade sedimentary gold mineralization setting, but at the same time, we also have very high-grade late-stage mineralization that came through this host rock sediments. And these late-stage are in the form of quartz, sulfide quartz gold structures. And we had to really innovate how we drilled and sampled those, and so a long story short, it was a long story, no pun intended. We relogged 175,000 meters of core, which is a fairly big program, and learned a lot there, and found that in the early days of the project, where a big part of the spend happened in the 2000s to 2011. They were hitting a lot of high grade. This was originally a high grade open pit operation, still open pit. And then the focus shifted to low grade. In reality, all the chain of custody of exploration work was all correct. And we're trying to bring it all together into one model. And which we did that. So we updated the PA last year. It envisioned a 26,000 ton a day operation, producing just over 3 million ounces over a 24 and a half year mine life. We de-risked it, employed dry stack tailings, moved the tailings out of the valley, and really tried to listen to all the feedback that had happened through the consultations of the 2021 pre-feas and built that into the solutions for an improved lower risk operation. To give you an example what that means, by changing the tails and the location and the style of placement from in the valley to dry stack, we reduced our footprint of water treatment by 50%. That's a massive improvement for the project and de-risking, our journey towards permitting.
Great.
So today, today we're saying, so what that did was it created a clear pathway for the company to contemplate moving directly to feasibility, which we took that decision and then embarked on a financing strategy. And here we are today, pleased to have done the deal for a 1.5% NSR with Wheaton Precious Metals for $55 million US that closed last month. And so now we're fully funded through the feasibility. That feasibility is kicked off drilling. We got a lot of teams mobilized and working together towards that. We anticipating completing that feasibility end of 2027, early 2028, making a build decision and building, and then hopefully getting into production Q1 2030.
Wow, sounds a lot to go and it's coming soon in the next couple of years. So let's talk a bit about some of your recent announcement and updates. We'll talk about that financing later as well. And with some of the recent drilling continues to return long and consistent gold intercept along this Orca fault corridor. And what does it tell you about the deposit?
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And you can see the market actually got pretty excited I'd say last November, where we had some volume going up before that. And as the news releases come out we call it the Orca fault structure. What that structure is a northeast trending quartz structure that has a presence of galena, which isn't all that common as an indicator mineral, but for us, it's a very strong indicator of high grade. And so we got onto this through that relog program that I mentioned and some of our innovative thinking, followed up on the discovery of it in our data, I'd say early 2025, intercepted with a couple holes, and we said, aha, we're on to it. And then we raised 4.2 million of flow last August, I believe. And then we started drilling that fall 2025 campaign into 2026 that you're seeing all the drill results on. We've got over 50 holes and we're drilling at a 120 azimuth as flat as we can to intercept. It's a conjugate set of structures, some near vertical and the flatter lying all trending northeast direction. So you got to drill in a 120 azimuth though to the southeast to intercept all those structures. And that's what you're seeing is this late stage mineralization I mentioned, kind of overprinting, if you will, the sediment early stage mineralization. And we drilled those holes on 25, 35 meter spacing, so measured and a measured spacing, if you will, started connecting a lot of these, I guess, structural corridors or swarms, if you will. And so on the back of that, we communicated that we're going to be providing a PA update. We're in the middle of that right now as I speak. So can't share too much of the results there, but we're progressing well. And hopefully in the next 2-3 months, we can come out with some results there on the PA update.
Good to hear. And you mentioned earlier about the financing, the royalty transaction with Wheaton. And so how does that strengthen your position? And the most important investor will ask, is that a good deal for the company?
Yeah, it's a great deal for the company. To do that at a PA, we had this strategy 3 years ago. So it's not like we kind of woke up one day and here we're trying to pass a due diligence and do a deal like that with Wheaton. We're thrilled to have them as a partner. They're a great partner. They have a lot of technical institutional knowledge that we can draw on. But it's important to investors because what we were looking to do is try and minimize dilution to shareholders. And we knew that 3 years ago, I ran some numbers on what a feasibility would cost. And again, our market cap being 40, 50 million back then would have been a huge dilutive event to advance the company. So everything we've been doing in the last 3 years was to get to this point where we could identify an executable, permittable, and financeable business case that we could get a financing such as this. And the Wheaton financing is a 1.5% NSR. We have the right to buy it back to a third at some point, hopefully. And it's a 3-tranche financing. So the first tranche is 22.5 million US. Then the second tranche is tied to 60,000 meters drilling, which will support the FS. That's 12.5 million US. And then upon the completion and receipt of the EA certificate, there's a $20 million tranche that comes in. So that entire package fully funds the drilling, the feasibility studies, and associated test work and all that, the inputs. And as well, we're entering stage 3 of BC Hydro's interconnection study, which is so important in order to try and catch this gold cycle and build this project. It's $1 billion build. It's a big ticket. I understand that. And we don't have the balance sheet. And so there's a lot of questions. Well, how would we finance that? And we have strategy for that. But part of that strategy was advancing the power. And you've got to have the power ready when you're building and turning, throwing the switch to turn the mine on, if you will. So we brought back that BC Hydro work and completed stage 2 this year. And we did an early start on stage 3, and we're just through the process of working through that agreement with BC Hydro. So yeah, lots on the go. This financing fully finances that, and then some. And we've got other opportunities to look at along the way as well.
Let's also touch upon some of the other operations work. How does the ore sorting result that you're working with Metso? Does that help? How does that help with the Spanish Mountain project to move closer to production?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's actually not Metso. We did an MOU with Metso. It's part of our capital stack strategy, how to build this. So we have access to, if we select their equipment, which is not ore sorting equipment, it's all the other stuff for the mill and tailings dewatering. We have access to OEM financing through them and the Finnish government for $50 million. So that those could be long lead items like mills, for example, and how we could get those going before we have final investment decision, perhaps. But yeah, we've been looking at ore sorting both in the main deposit and Phoenix, similar to Cisco development north of us in the Cariboo project. We have very similar mineralogy, I understand. We saw amenability during the PA. We didn't trend it in the PA, although we saw some very good results. I would say around PDAC this year or MIF Toronto, we put out a press release on the Phoenix ore sorting. It's the new deposit to the west of the main deposit where the PA is based on. Phoenix is not in that. So we did some ore sorting there. We saw an uplift in head grades of 2 to 2.5. So similar to better than, I guess, what a Cisco development was seeing in their base case. We need to do more testing. And the thing with ore sorting, you got to be careful of are 2 things is you can lose material, mineralization. It doesn't get it all. So does that erode value? And then for our scale, like we're 26,000 tons a day. I think the largest plant that like Steinart and a couple of these OEMs we've engaged with through ABH Engineering. So ABH is doing our ore sorting work and analysis. Brent Hilscher, he was I think the QP originally for the Cisco, the Cariboo project's ore sorting plant back when it was Barkerville. But at any rate, so there's limitation. The other limitation of ore sorting to be concerned about is the size of commercially available size and throughput. And we're informed it's somewhere around 10,000 tons a day. So you'd need like 2.5 ore sorting plants to feed a 26,000 ton a day plant. So there's some CapEx considerations and physical limitations. So we're being measured there on what we come out with. I like to call it the business case we put forward is a vanilla base case. It doesn't need, high technology or cutting edge technology to be economic. We don't need more drilling to actually have an economic case. We're doing that drilling because there is some high grade potential to hopefully uplift the first years 1 to 10, which would support financing the $1 billion build. That's why we're doing and improve the robustness. So if ore sorting, really pans out and overall recoveries, I could see it playing a good role in some of the lower grade. So that was the strategic reason we brought it in, is not only the mineralogy is suitable for that, pyrite sorts very well. And that's the majority of our gold is in pyrite. About 80% is present in pyrite. That's our float concentrate, is a pyrite. But how could we tackle the perceived low grade and why this asset didn't advance for the last 40 years? So high grade drilling in the Orca is one. Ore sorting, and actually ore sorting is a specific component of pre-concentration, the pre-concentration technique. So there's various techniques to pre-concentrate, and coarse particle flotation is actually one of those. So we have an option, whether it's ore sorting or coarse particle flotation, to take a bigger cut earlier and reject some of the barren and clean material from the feed and place that in tails, and then have a smaller mass pull to get recoveries up on. So could be ore sorting, could be a combination ore sorting, coarse particle, or something else. So that's what we're up to, and that's why we're doing that work.
There are quite a few things to consider there.
Mm-hmm.
And so my last question for you is talk about your valuation. Right now you're a bit over 150 million market cap, still relatively cheap compared to some of your peers. So glad to share any thoughts, and what are some of the things or milestone catalysts that you think in the next 12 months that could to make your company re-rate?
Yeah, I think we're in the re-rate process. We saw a pretty good bump with the announcement of the Wheaton deal, and I think we got up to 42 cents. I think we were over a couple $100 million market cap. That's a good result. I call it a base hit. I think we've got a lot more upside. We're hugely undervalued. At 24.50 gold, the PEA assumptions for the base case, it was still $1 billion NPV. And we go up to 39 spot. I think it's 3.2 billion after tax, 5% after tax. So lots of room there. We've got several analysts who are following us, hopefully building up that register. But Red Cloud's Ron Stewart, I think, has 80-cent target price on us over the time frame of the feasibility. Ben Period Atrium has $1 on us, and then Don Durrett and John Kaiser also following us. So I think there's some pretty good information out there for investors to get informed on. And sorry, what was the second part of your question?
Yeah, I was just looking at any sort of catalyst or milestone in the next 12 months that you could possibly re-rate your story there.
Right. So we're continuing drilling. So we had a press release June 2nd. We hit more 100-meter long intercepts, this broad mineralization with high grade structures in there. We keep drilling. As I said, we got 60,000 meters of drilling. Majority of that, at least 50,000, are actually drilling on targets and condemnation drilling, if you will. The rest is geotechnical. So look for drill results coming out. Look for the PA update coming up. The other thing I hadn't talked about is in that rework and relook of where's some value creation. We saw that there was a presence, an anomalous presence of rutile, which is titanium, a critical mineral in Canada, in significant amounts. And so we actually rolled that work into the feasibility workflows And we have a titanium team mobilizing, working on the beneficiation tests of rutile, so how we can metallurgically recover it and create a concentrate potentially and sell that concentrate. Rutile is highly valuable. There's two types of titanium concentrates, I guess, or minerals, that are valuable. Ilmenite, which is used in paints that replace lead for the white paint pigment, and then rutile is it's pure titanium oxide. It's used in forges for the metal, so it's highly valued, highly prized. So we like that opportunity. If we can figure out how to recover it and create a saleable concentrate, that'll give us an idea of the cutoff grade, and then that'll give us an idea if we can develop a mineral resource estimate for that. And so if all that works out as we hope and think it might, you might see a catalyst come forward on critical minerals and specifically a rutile mineral resource estimate.
Great, lots to look forward to. Peter, thank you for your time here today, sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Gilbert. My pleasure.
Yeah, looking forward to speaking with you again soon.
Same.